Hello everyone. Good afternoon all of you. Good afternoon everyone. Please give me confirmation my audio and video is clear so that we can proceed with today's session. Hi all of you. Good afternoon. Please give me confirmation regarding the audio and video. Is it clear? Everyone, good afternoon. Good afternoon everyone. It is clear now? Please give me confirmation regarding the audio and video. Good afternoon. Clear? Okay, a very warm welcome to 6th class of Agri 360-degree series. I'm your mentor Janvi Bajpayee, and in today's session our topic is watershed. Okay, good afternoon all of you. Now let's start today's session, watershed. Now see, we know that the main source of water for all of us, for our planet, is precipitation. Correct now? The main source of water for all of us is precipitation. And when I talk about precipitation, it includes all forms of water which comes from atmosphere to our surface. It is known as precipitation, but majorly it includes the rainfall and then secondary snow. The main source of precipitation, or the main kind of precipitation which brings the maximum or the most of the water, is rainfall and then the snow. Now, what happens then in rainfall? Some part of the water is absorbed by the soil moisture in the form of soil moisture. Basically, it is absorbed by soil in the form of soil moisture. Some part of the water is being used by the water bodies for recharging itself, and the excess of water or the leftover water which comes from different streams present on our planet. Okay, now the different streams that are present on the earth's surface, on the land, on the geohydrological unit, basically they come and meet at a point. The different tributaries present in the geohydrological unit containing the excess of water, the runoff water from fields, basically channels and other places as well. They come, they join at particular place, and then excess of water is discharged in a common point. The excess of water is discharged in a common point, and that common point where different tributaries are just discharging the excess of water in a common point is known as watershed. Okay, what is the meaning of watershed? Watershed simply means that the excess of water from different streams meet at a point, and then it is collectively released in a common outlet, which is known as watershed. Okay, this is known as your watershed. Now let's see the definition of watershed. Watershed is defined as a geohydrological unit draining to a common point by a system of drains. Okay, watershed is defined as a geohydrological unit draining to a common point by a system of drains. Any surface area from which the rainfall is collected and drains through a common point is called a watershed. Okay, so particularly this is known as your watershed. Watershed is a geohydrological unit. Why? Because geo represents the land and hydro represents the water. Definitely, watershed is a part of both. It is a part of water bodies and definitely a part of land unit as well. That's why we consider watershed as a geohydrological unit, which is a common draining point. Different streams, they drain in a common point, which is known as the watershed. Any surface area. Okay, it could be any surface area, but yes, the common point will remain the same, which is known as the outlet. Now, another names for the watershed. See, watershed is also known as the catchment area or the drainage basin. Okay, another synonyms for the watershed is the catchment area and the drainage basin. What is the meaning of the drainage basin? Drainage means where the excess of water is removed. Now, what is the meaning of drainage? The removal of excess of water. And what is the meaning of basin? Basin is something that holds the water, that collects the water. True? From here, we name it as drainage basin, and similarly the meaning of catchment area is also exactly the same. It is a common point which is serving as an outlet for different streams of water. Now, watershed divide. What is the meaning of term watershed divide? Now, see this figure, huh? You can clearly see that this part is shaded from dark green color and this part is shaded from the light green color. And this dark green and light green part is divided by this white line. Is it visible? Can you see that this dark green and light green part is divided by a white line? What is this white line? This white line is known as the watershed divide. Means watershed divide is that line, is that high pitch line that divides the different watershed. See, we have various of kinds of rivers where there is very difference into zones. Even in our country, we have different basically rivers for North India. We have different set of rivers for South India. Correct na? So how come it is possible that watershed will be just one? No, we have different basins. Okay, so the basins of northern India is different, for the southern India is different, and these various of kinds of watersheds are divided by which line? Watershed divide. Okay, watershed divide basically divides, it differentiates the two different watersheds. Now, the another common name for the watershed divide. What is the common name for the watershed divide? It is also known as drainage divide or ridge divide. Okay, the other two common names for watershed divide is the drainage divide and the ridge divide. Now, let's talk about the components. What are the different major components of the watershed? We have divide, headwaters, tributaries, confluence, mouth, floodplain, channel, wetlands, groundwater, and definitely the whole system which is known as the watershed. Now, let's discuss each and every point one by one. The very first, the divide. As I've already told you, what is the meaning of divide here? It is the highest ridge line, or basically the boundary that separates one watershed from another, directing the water flow. This is known as your divide. Okay, what is the meaning of divide? Divide basically differentiate, or it separates one watershed from another. Next, we have the headwaters. Headwater means the starting point, or basically the source of streams and rivers within the watershed which is present in the higher elevation. In simple words, we can say the starting point of the water. Okay, the starting point. It could be any stream, it could be any river from which the water is flowing. The flow has just started. This is known as your headwaters. Next is the tributaries. What is the meaning of tributaries? The smaller streams. Okay, the smaller streams and rivers that flow into and contribute to the water to a larger main river is known as the tributaries. Tributaries are small streams, different streams. Further, they are jointed into one and then they are discharged finally in the watershed. But what is specifically meaning of tributaries? The smaller stream or the smaller rivers that flow into and contribute water to a large main river. Next, we have the channel. What is the meaning of channel? The physical bed and banks of a stream or river where water naturally flows. Okay, where the water not naturally flows, where the water naturally comes without any specific external force or external method, that is known as your channel. Then next we have the floodplain. Floodplain are basically the flat land areas. Okay, the flat land areas that are near or adjacent to a river that is naturally flooded during the periods of excessive rainfall. Okay, or basically those periods where water availability is sufficiently present. In such cases, the low-lying areas which are adjacent to the rivers, close to the rivers, have high chances of flood, and particularly those areas are known as floodplain. Next, now wetlands. Areas where land is covered by water either permanently or seasonally, like the marshes, swamps, acting as a natural sponges and the filters is known as your wetlands. Okay, basically wetlands are those areas which are permanently or seasonally covered with the water. The muddy conditions are present, marshes and swamps. Groundwater. Now we all know the water which is stored in the soil and the rock layers, specifically known as aquifers, which is slowly feeds into the streams and rivers, and definitely the groundwater is utilized by us as well for our day-to-day activities. Okay, that is simply known as the groundwater. Next we have the confluence. What is the meaning of confluence? The main point where two or more streams or rivers meet and flow together. What is the meaning of the confluence? This is the main joining point. What is confluence? It is the main joining point where two or more streams or rivers are meeting each other. Basically, the different tributaries, the smaller streams, they come and join at a common point. Na? That very common point is known as confluence. Okay, the common point is known as confluence. Then the mouth, the final outlet, where the main river of the watershed discharges the water into a large body. It could be lake or ocean. That is known as the mouth. Simple words, mouth is the outlet. What is mouth? The final outlet where the water is discharged into a larger water body. It could be any lake or ocean. So these are the components, or basically the important parts of watershed. Now, next we have the types of watershed. Very important and simple at the same time. Simply you have to learn the size, and I will be showing you some PYQs as well from this watershed part, types of watershed part. So we have 5 kinds of watershed according to their sizes. That is in hectares. Remember the dimension, basically the size, and the SI unit as well. This is also important. Now, what is the simplest way to learn to start from the small? Okay, to start from the smaller one, mini watershed. The size is around 1 to 100 hectare. What is the size of mini hectare? Sorry, mini watershed, 1 to 100 hectare. Then next we have the micro. Micro is bigger than mini, na? So definitely the size will be around 100 to 1000 hectares. Micro, above micro we have the milli watershed. Milli watershed, the size will be 1000 to 10,000 hectares. Sub watershed, here the size will be 10,000 to 50,000 hectares. And then the macro watershed, here the size is more than 50,000 hectares. Okay, here the size is more than 50,000 hectares. So these are the different types of watershed according to their sizes, and this part is very important. You have to learn this very decently. Now, what is the meaning of watershed management? See, when you efficiently use water in a proper way, in a sustainable manner, and other components of the geohydrological unit as well, which includes all of thing means it includes the land, human beings, animals, plants. Each and everything is a part of this geohydrological unit comprising the watershed. The management and the sustainable way of managing these components is simply known as the watershed management. Okay, this is the meaning of watershed management. It is the process of implementing land use practices and water management practices to protect and improve the quality of the water and other natural resources within a watershed. Definitely that when we are talking watershed, the main component here, the main focus area is water. Definitely that we have to keep the water neat and clean. We have to save the water. We have to conserve the water. These are the primary aims under watershed management. Now, let's talk about the watershed management components. What are the different components of the watershed management? The very first we have is the soil and water conservation. When I talk about soil and water conservation, it is a very important topic, and it is an individual topic of even soil science. What is the meaning of soil and water conservation? See, soil and water conservation simply means those practices, those measures that are led or that are meant for conserving the soil and water. The soil, specifically the moisture that is present in the soil. So what are the ways? We have agronomic measures. Okay, we have agronomic measures, we have mechanical measures, we have forestry measures, and then we have agrostological measures as well. Okay, so these are basically the different measures for conserving the soil and water. When I talk about the agronomic measures, what is the meaning of agronomic measures? See, agronomic measures are used in those land where the slope percentage is less than 2%. Remember, in case of agronomic measures, what is the percentage of slope? Less than 2%. Okay, where the slope is less than 2%, you can go for agronomic measures. Agronomic measures simply means going for contour cropping, use basically strip cropping method, use mulching methods. Okay, overall those methods which will conserve the moisture, okay, which will conserve the moisture, which will reduce the erosion, such measures are part of agronomic measures. Then we have the mechanical measures which are also known as structural measures or engineering measures. Means when agronomic measures are not sufficient or not good enough, then in that case we have to complement it with structural measures, engineering measures, or we can say mechanical measures. So mechanical measures is particularly opted in those areas where slope percentage is more than 2. Okay. Engineering measures are opted in those areas where slope percentage is more than 2 and agronomic measures are not sufficient. When I talk about engineering, structural, mechanical, what is the meaning of these words? These words definitely mean that we are constructing something. We are making a structure. What we are constructing, it includes zinc terracing, bunding, trenching, because all these methods we build additional structures that will reduce the speed of runoff, okay, that will reduce the rate of runoff and definitely giving the more time to the soil to absorb the water and hence reducing the chances of erosion, and definitely it saves the soil and water too. So that's the concept of mechanical measures. Forestry measures means that we should opt for windbreaks, shelter belts. Why? Because windbreaks and shelter belts both protect our farms, our crops from the high wind velocity, or basically the high velocity wind. And high velocity wind holds a great potential in increasing the rate of evapotranspiration. Okay, it basically holds a great potential in increasing the rate of evapotranspiration. There is a simple concept that whenever the wind velocity is high, definitely the rate of evapotranspiration will increase. What is evapotranspiration? If in case you don't know, evaporation means the loss of water from the soil surface and water bodies. What is transpiration? The loss of water in the form of gases, in the form of vapor basically from plant surface is known as transpiration. Just join these two words, evapotranspiration, that means the loss of water in the form of vapor from the soil surface and the plants is known as your evapotranspiration. So basically the windbreaks and shelter belts reduce the rate of evapotranspiration. Okay, the windbreaks and shelter belts reduce the rate of evapotranspiration and definitely conserving the soil and water. Then next we have the agrostological measures. Grasses, okay, agrostological measure includes the grasses. The grasses serves as a natural vegetative barriers, okay, the grasses serve as a natural vegetative barriers, hence reducing the runoff, preventing basically stopping the soil erosion and thus saving our soil and water. Next, the crop management means we should make the right crop, choose the right crop, opt for the crop rotations. We should efficiently manage our crop production basically. Alternate land use system means that each and every land is not just meant for the production of crop. Each and every land has its own capability. If our land is not suitable for crop cultivation, it doesn't mean it is good for nothing. You can use that land for other agriculture based enterprises. You can go for sericulture, lag culture, mushroom cultivation, dairy farming, or you can opt for forestry as well. Agroforestry specifically, definitely a very good land use management system. So that is one of the important components of your watershed. Then definitely the rainwater harvesting. What is the meaning of rainwater harvesting? Rainwater harvesting simply means that storing the rainwater, collecting and storing the rainwater, further filtering it and using it for the irrigation purpose and other day-to-day activities. That is known as your rainwater harvesting. Written here, rainwater harvesting is a sustainable practice of collecting and storing rainwater for later use rather than allowing it to run off. Apart from that, afforestation and reforestation. What is the meaning of afforestation and reforestation? Afforestation means growing of trees in a completely new area. Okay, growing of trees in completely new area, whereas reforestation means growing of trees in those areas where forest existed previously and the trees were cut it down. Okay, so we should promote more and more afforestation and reforestation. Apart from that, pollution control. Yes, it is very necessary to control the pollution. Why? Pollution has a great potential in degrading the quality of water and soil and air as well. Community involvement, see, till the people, the local communities are not engaging themselves, not taking the first step forward, definitely it is not practically possible to conserve the natural phenomena, to conserve the soil and water, and hence watershed. Then integrated water resource management, balancing the water use for agriculture, urban areas and ecosystem. We definitely know that water is needed for each and everything. Water is required for agriculture, for day-to-day activities, for industries. Each and every industry needs the water. That's why it is very necessary that we should maintain a balance now. We should maintain a balance between the optimum utilization of water. This is only known as the integrated water resource management. Now, see, here you have to remember the full forms as well as the year. The watershed management programs in India. Read this. Basically, the very first drought prone area program, DPAP, year is 1973 to 74. Then 77 to 78 was desert development program, DDP. Next, 1989 to 90, integrated wasteland development program, IWDP. Then 1990 to 91, national watershed development project for rainfed areas. Then 2019 to 10, we have integrated watershed management program, IWMP. And then 2015 to 16, watershed development component of Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. So this part is also important. Here you have to remember the full forms as well as the year. Now, next, let's talk about the rational method. Important, this is important. It was asked in A4 2023. Now, what is the meaning of rational method? This method is very widely used for estimating the peak flow rates. This method is very popular and widely used for estimating the peak flow rates, but only in case of small to medium size watersheds. Okay, only in case of small to medium size watershed, not suitable for the larger ones. This method is known as the rational method, which is used to calculate the peak flow rate of small and medium size watersheds. Now, what is the equation? Q equals to CIA. Okay, very important. The equation for rational method of watershed is Q equals to CIA. Here, Q stands for peak flow rate, C is runoff coefficient, I is average rainfall intensity, and A is watershed area. Important, this is important. Here you have to remember the meaning, the equation, as well as the meaning of each and every term. Q, C, I, A, everything. Okay, that's the concept of the rational method. Now, let's talk about the groundwater aquifers. Like you have, we have read this just like 4 to 5 slides ago, that groundwater is also important component of watershed. Definitely, the groundwater, which contains the water made up of layers of permeable and non-permeable material, the rock, sand, and many other material as well, whose function is to hold and transmit the water. Groundwater. Now, see the definition. An aquifer is an underground layer of rock, sand, or gravel that holds and transmits the groundwater. Aquifers are a crucial freshwater resource recharged by precipitation and tapped for drinking water, agriculture, and industry. Definitely, the groundwater which is present in the aquifers is only used by us for our day-to-day activities, utilized by the industries, and definitely for the irrigation purpose as well. Now, let's talk about the type of aquifers. See, basically, there are 3 types of aquifers. Okay, we have 3 types of aquifers. The very first, the unconfined. Unconfined aquifer, which is also known as the non-artesian aquifer. Next, we have the confined aquifer, which is also known as artesian aquifer. And the third one we have is the perched aquifer. Now, the main and the most important for all of us is the unconfined aquifer. Unconfined is the actual water table. We say now that in summers, water table goes down. We say now that in summers, water table goes down. What is this water table? This water table is unconfined aquifer. Okay, it is unconfined aquifer. This is the aquifer that consists of all the water which is utilized by us. This only consists of the main groundwater. The main water table is this aquifer which transmits and holds the water which is further utilized by all of us. These are the topmost water bearing layers with a free water surface called the water table, so shallow in depth. Definitely, you can see from the figure as well. See, we have three kinds of aquifer now. This one is the unconfined one. This shown in the image. This is the unconfined aquifer. It is very shallow in depth and the topmost layer simply we can say, and from this basically we extract or pump out the water which is used by us. Then second, we have the confined aquifer, also known as the artesian aquifer. Bounded above and below by the impermeable layers, water is under pressure. Now what happens in this aquifer? The water is in between. The water is in between the two impermeable layers. The water is between the two impermeable layers. As a result, water is not able to freely flow and we are not able to pump it out easily. Why? Because of the presence of impermeable layers that exerts a pressure on the water, and that pressure is known as artesian pressure. Okay, that is known as artesian pressure, like you can see from the image as well. This is the confined aquifer. Okay, this is the confined aquifer, and this, the one that I am shading, these are the impermeable layers. Okay, these are the impermeable layers, and between these impermeable layers is the confined aquifer. This confined aquifer, the water cannot freely flow. Why? Because of the pressure that is exerted by the impermeable layer, by these two impermeable layers, and this aquifer is known as your confined aquifer, and the pressure is known as the artesian pressure. Now, the third one we have is the perched aquifer. Perched aquifer is very small, localized aquifer which is generally found above the unconfined one. Unconfined, the water table, okay, which is found above the main water table, formed due to presence of an impermeable layer at a shallow depth. Now, see this image and then it will be clear. This is your perched aquifer. Okay, this is where the perched aquifer is present. Now, see this figure. What was this layer? This layer was unconfined aquifer. Okay, what was this? This layer was unconfined aquifer. Then this layer was the impermeable one. I am right, IMP. This is the impermeable layer. This is also the impermeable layer. True. And this one, which is shaded with the green color, is your confined aquifer. Okay, the one between the two impermeable layers is the confined aquifer. And just above the unconfined aquifer, we have the perched aquifer, very shallow and the localized. Basically, it tries to obstruct and restricts the movement of the water that is present in the unconfined aquifer. But since it is very small in size, so it does not create any kind of obstruction or a huge obstruction in the freely movement of the water. Okay, done. So these are basically the three kinds of aquifers that we have. This is the combined figure, the perched aquifer, unconfined aquifer, impermeable layers, the bedrock, and in between we have the confined aquifer. Okay, so these are the three kinds of aquifer that we have. Now, impermeable layers, what is this, or what is this different material that is obstructing the flow of water? The very first, it could be Aquitard, a geological layer with low permeability. This Aquitard has the low permeability and it restricts the flow of groundwater but does not completely stop it. Means it will restrict the movement of the water but won't be able to completely stop it. It is known as Aquitard. Next we have the Aquiclude. Again, a geological formation that is impermeable to the flow of water but may hold water. That means Aquiclude won't be allowing the flow of water, but yes, definitely it can hold the water. And then the third, the worst of all, is the Aquifuge, a geological formation that is neither porous nor permeable. It cannot absorb or transmit water. It will neither absorb the water, it will neither hold the water nor allow the transmission of the water. Okay, such kind of layer is known as the Aquifuge. So these were the three kinds of the impermeable layers that are common in the aquifer. Okay, Now, I suppose the concept is clear to everyone, and now let's practice some of the important PYQs from this topic. Okay, come on. Need answer from each and everyone. What will be the answer, guys? Give answer for this. And like the session as well, everyone. What will be the answer? Come on, integrated Watershed Management Program launched in which year? Come on, guys. What will be the answer? Okay, fine. Option number C. Good. 2009 to 2010. Next, BO Agronomy 2024. What will be the answer? Come on. Tell me. What will be the answer? Humidity, catchment area, watershed, or water harvesting? Okay, fine. It is option number D, water harvesting. Okay, good. Next, type of watershed, huh? What is the size of Milli watershed? Tell me. What will be the answer here? It is more than, or basically less than, or between a value? Tell me. Okay. Option number E. Okay, what will be the correct answer? So good, Anjali, I got the correct answer from you, and rest C. Whosoever has given the answer D, it is written acre and acre. No, the unit is hectare here now. So definitely option number E is the correct answer. That's why I told you, remember the units as well. Next, tell for micro watershed, JRF Agronomy 2023. What will be the answer? Okay. Oh yes, option number B, 100 to 1000 hectare. Option number B is the correct answer. Next, from JRF Agronomy 2022, IWDP stands for, what is the full form of IWDP here? Tell me, what is the full form of IWDP? Okay. Option number C, Integrated Watershed Development Program. Absolutely correct. Integrated Watershed Development Program. Next, the father of community-led watershed development in India is, good question, from BO Agronomy 2024. What will be the correct answer? Okay. Good. Option number A, Harman Basher is a correct answer. Okay. Next question. Very, very nice question from A4 2023 exam. Tell me. What will be the answer, guys? Good. Here, the correct answer will be option number A. The question is asking rational method of watershed equation Q equals to CIA, where Q is peak discharge, I is intensity of rainfall, A is drainage area, what is C? And here C stands for runoff coefficient. Good. Next question. Area covered under sub-watershed ranges between. What will be the answer? Give answer. Okay. Option number 1. Good. Next question. What is watershed? Okay. Yes. Option number B, an area of land that drains into a common water body. Next question. Which of the following best describes the concept of integrated watershed management? And let me share the link of the PDF as well, huh? So you all can download it from here. Yes, shared. Okay, now tell me what will be the answer for this question? Okay, good. Option number B, addressing all aspects of the watershed ecosystem, including the water, soil, vegetation, and human activities. Very good. Okay, thank you so much. Here we wrap up today's session. It was all. Now it's your homework to comment down the topics that you want me to give priority. Remember, comment down the topics that you want me to take on the priority basis, the next upcoming sessions, and any other suggestion, please comment down. Okay, now tell me what was your score from out of 10. Comment this also. Okay, so let's end this session and download the PDF that I have shared. Okay, bye everyone, ending the session, and do comment down your topics that you want me to give priority. Bye, take care, have a nice day.